I'd just like to talk about a few more things about what's going on inside of your Arduino sketch. The first thing I want to talk about are comments. Everything after the // here, like in this first case, it says put your setup code here to run once. These are called comments, and you can see I have a lot of them here. These are all comments, and they're kind of grayed out like that. These do not affect how your program runs. They're just there to explain to a human being what's going on, what your code is doing. So I mean, I wrote here, wait for half a second. You don't need to write this. You don't need any of these comments. Your code will run just fine without them, but they are nice to have. So everything after a // again is ignored by the actual program when it runs. They're just there for human beings, so you can explain what's going on. The other thing is you can put multiple line comments, sometimes called block comments, by starting with a /*** and ending with an *// So I could put something here as well. I like pizza in between these things, and you can see it's also grayed out. That does not affect how your program runs. Comments are nice, but they're not actually necessary. The other thing I want to talk about are these curly brackets. Now, if you're new to programming, maybe this seems kind of funny, but many things begin and end with curly brackets, and you're going to see these again. And curly brackets come in pairs. Every time you see a beginning curly bracket, you must have an ending curly bracket. Everything inside of curly brackets is typically indented a couple of spaces. Not necessary. I mean, your code will run just fine like that. Actually, you could even run everything on the same line, but programmers like to format things nicely, and it's typically done where you indent everything inside of curly brackets a couple of spaces. And here I did it again down there. And the other thing is these semicolons. Lines of code are supposed to end with semicolons, except for lines that end with curly brackets. So you'll notice here, no semicolon on this line, no semicolon on this line, but the other lines have semicolons. All right, I just want to talk about one more thing. The last thing I want to talk about is using variables in your program. You'll notice I modified the code slightly. Instead of writing the number 8 in all of these places, right? Pin mode 8 output, digital write 8, digital write 8. Instead of doing that, I created a variable, and I named the variable LED-A. Now, you can name a variable whatever you like. Within reason, there are certain words that you can't use, or certain reserved words, like you could not name the variable pin mode, for example, or output, for example. Those are special words. But you can name a variable generally anything you want. I called it LED-A because it represents an LED-A. Now, this little word before it, int, this means this is an integer. So I made an integer named LED-A, and its value is 8. Just like in math class, you can assign x equals 3 or something, but programmers like to use multiple letters. They like to use words to name their variables. So here I made a variable called LED, and it equals 8, and instead of writing 8 in all these places, I just put LED-A. Now you might be thinking, well, what's the point of that? Well, the point is now my program is a little bit more flexible. If I want to change the output pin, all I have to do is change it in one place. Boom, there I'm done. And you'll see as we continue with our programming, variables are going to be super useful. All right, thanks so much for watching.